Hello lovely viewers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Utua, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing my entire experience applying and getting accepted for my master's at LSE. So I'll divide this video into two parts: the application for LSE and also the scholarship side of things, because I feel like these two areas are the most important when it comes to applications and going to study your master's or even your undergraduate studies. So the first thing that I'll talk about when it comes to applying for schools and scholarships is research. Research. I cannot say this enough because it's one of the most important things important lessons that I learned when it came to applying for my master's. And that's a lot. I made a lot of mistakes when it came to the research side because I didn't research enough. So I wasn't prepared for a lot of things, and I had to, be very fast and try and adjust or adapt to the different changes or the different things that I was learning along the way in my application and scholarship process. So the first thing that I'll definitely advise anyone to do is, if you're ever interested in going to study a master's or undergraduate studies, even in your country or outside your country, research is your number one thing. Research, watch videos, learn from people, ask questions. You can even call the schools and ask them questions. Honestly, nobody will push you away for calling and asking questions about applications and stuff like that. But get as much knowledge. Go for all the sessions that talk about the different schools and how to apply and stuff like that. And also meet people, connect with people on LinkedIn. Research is the most important thing, because when you're researching, you're looking for, one, the requirements that are needed to apply for the school, the process, knowing every single step along the way in the process, and also understanding how scholarships work. If you're like me and you're funding your postgraduate studies with scholarships, researching about scholarships is very important. So you know all the requirements, you know which ones you're suited for, and then you can create a list. I really advise you to create an Excel sheet list of all the schools you want to apply for, what your scholarship requirements are, what your application requirements are, so that you can go through the process smoothly. The second thing that I'll advise you to do is start looking for recommenders, because recommenders are the number one thing that delays your applications. I feel like you should know that recommenders are not there or living their lives for you. So if you want to apply for a school and you need a recommender, you should start talking to them way ahead of time so that they can be better prepared and ready to write something for you on time. Otherwise, you're going to really struggle for your entire application process to be over. So now that I've talked about the two major things I think you should consider, let's dive right into my experience. So I applied for LSE really late. Now my experience will show you all the mistakes I did, because I made 1,001 mistakes. I applied for LSE really late. I wasn't prepared. I didn't do my research well, and I just talked about LSE with one of my colleagues, and I decided to apply. I decided to throw in my application. And now that I think about it, if I was really early, I would be able to find courses that I actually really liked and really suited me, because although I found a course that worked for me, I feel like I could have found a much better course. So yeah, if you want to go to school, definitely start way ahead of time. So yeah, I applied for LSE late, and I tried to find courses that worked for me, courses that didn't require things like GMAT and GRE, because I was late and there was no way that I could have written GMAT or GRE and passed in the last minute. So I had to look for courses that could work in my specific requirements, and I found a couple of them, and I ended up settling for an MSc in accounting. So in terms of the application process, I really struggled when it came to, I wouldn't say I really struggled, because my recommenders were people that have been recommending me for different things over the years. And so it was quite easy for them to, pull up an old report and then freshen it up and then give it off to the school as my recommendation or my referral. But one thing that I really struggled with was following up with them and making sure that they had followed the process and uploaded my references. And now another thing that is important when it comes to LSE applications is the fact that you just have one chance to show them who you are, which is in your personal statement. Now it looks exciting to know that you're not writing different short essays for your application, or you're not having any interviews to the school. But the bad side of that is you just have the personal letter to show them who you are and to sell yourself as much as possible. So my advice to you, if you want to apply for LSE, is to definitely show them your strengths and the different perspectives you bring to the table, and also show them how LSE and the courses that you're applying for are aligned with your long-term goals. You really need to make sure that the essay is not vague. The essay is really addressing who you are, why you want LSE, what LSE can do for you, and what you would be bringing to the table as well when it comes to class discussions and stuff like that. So you really, really need to take your time. And I'd advise that you get people to proofread your essays. You get people to read the content, not just like look for grammatical errors, but you get people to read and then you ask them to tell you what they got from the essay, so that you can know if your essay is telling them the number of things that you need to be getting across in the essay. So that's one major thing. Your personal statement for LSE, you must really kill it, because that's the only thing you're giving off for them to kind of figure out who you are and how you fit into LSE. Now, another thing is the test. So basically, if you're doing a course that requires GMAT or GRE, you have to make sure that you're well prepared and have written these before you can apply for the courses. When it comes to courses that don't require, there's also the IELTS test, which is the English test. And for me, I didn't know I had to write an IELTS test. I didn't even think about it, because in my mind, I literally grew up learning English. I was taught in English my whole life, so I totally forgot, or it didn't even come to my mind, like it didn't cross my mind. And then later on, I realized that I had to write the IELTS test in order to make my offer unconditional. So I really advise you to make sure that you know all the requirements, all the tests you have to take, because some of these tests take time and then they can delay your whole process if you've not gotten them done. Because for the IELTS, I think the next booking available was really far away. It was like I think in July, and I had to go to in September. I hadn't even found scholarships. So you can imagine how bad the situation was for me when all of this was happening. So I really advise you to know beforehand if you need an English requirement for the IELTS test, and try and write these tests as soon as possible. So now, after all of this, after I've done my application and got my referrals, for LSE, I had to wait for I think about 8 weeks before I got my offer letter or my rejection. So luckily for me, after 8 weeks, I got my offer letter, and that is when I realized, no, I don't have money to go to school. I need to find scholarships for school. Now, if I had planned earlier on, I would definitely have been able to figure out my scholarships and already have been applying for scholarships before my offer letter came. I think there are a couple of scholarships that don't require the offer letters, but yeah, if I researched, I would have known that. And so after my offer letter came, I had a really short period to find scholarships, and it was tough. It was really tough. And one thing that I'd advise you to do is network with people. Get to know people who you think know people who can help you or help you get some scholarships, So what I did was I really, really networked. I talked to as many people as possible because I was late and I had no option. Like at that point, a lot of scholarships had closed. The last scholarship that was available was GNPC. And if it was not for networking, I wouldn't have even known that the GNPC scholarship existed or was even running. So that's how come I was able to apply for the GNPC scholarship. And a few tips for GNPC, if you're considering it, is one thing that, this might sound very minor, but I think is really important is when I was going for the interviews for the GNPC scholarship, one thing I did or made sure I did was to make sure I looked good. I put effort into how I looked, because sometimes when you're selling your vision to people, and your outward appearances do not match that vision or do not make it look like you're even serious about that vision, it can, affect people's opinions about you. Your first impression really counts. And so for me, that's one thing that I advise people. If you ever have a physical interview or anything with a scholarship giver or the school even, make sure you put effort into how you look. Make them see that you're serious about whatever you're going to give or whatever you want for your life. So yeah, I went for the scholarship interview and I made sure I was well prepared because I had to know a lot of current issues. I had to make sure I was knowledgeable in a lot of fields, and that's one of the things I think can really help you. If you can sell your vision, if you can sell why you want to go to school, if you can sell what your long-term goals are, how the school fits into that and everything, it will definitely help you in interviews for scholarships. And make sure you put effort into the letters, I think the personal statement letters for scholarships as well. So those are the things that helped me a lot. And finally, I got my scholarship from GMPC and I was ready to go to school. But as you can see, my whole process was such a stressful situation because I wasn't prepared. So one biggest advice is prepare, have spreadsheets, track everything that's going on, know all your requirements, and you would be able to go through this entire experience smoothly. And I hope and I wish you the best in applying for schools. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the description box. I may do a Q&A so I can be more specific in answering your questions, but this is just a general video describing my experience when it came to applying for school and for scholarships for LSE. So do let me know all your questions in the description box and I'll shoot a part 2 of this video being more specific and answering your questions. I hope you guys have a good day and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, to comment, to subscribe, and also to share my videos. Help somebody out there who wants to go to school, who wants to go to LSE, and let them know, let them ask their questions as well in the comment section below so I can answer all your questions. And I'll catch you guys in another video. Have a blessed day. Bye guys.